Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and Warlock Conclaves to that 6+++ show. I am your host, Tom. I'm back once again with the lovely nerds of the 6++40k team. We're here to talk all things Warhammer 40,000 with you tonight. We're going to dial it back, right back to the beginning, starting this new hobby many, many years ago. I don't know whether I think that it's a nostalgic topic because I think John had a bit of a Warhammer World adventure this weekend. Got me thinking about when you get started and starting out in the hobby. So it was quite fun. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of try and offer some wisdoms to our past selves and perhaps some wisdoms to you, your present selves, if you're new and joining us in the hobby right now and you're just starting to get into this wonderful game. Because I think it's a real journey. Playing 40k, collecting 40k, and we've all been on a real journey over the last few years. And what you learn along the way is some life lessons, some wisdoms. We're going to try and be wisdomers for you tonight and share some useful wisdoms, some shortcuts, some pitfalls, all those kinds of things to avoid, things to maybe do. And maybe we'll be right, maybe we'll be wrong. I'll be interested to see. And I'd love to hear from all of you in the chat about what you've learned along the way in this wonderful 40k journey of your own. Do let us know what you're up to. Do shout out if you're listening in. I'm judging you a little bit because you should probably be in like a lovely beer garden or something. It's really nice in England today. It's very lovely and warm out. So I won't take offense if you want to go and do that instead. But if you do want to stay in hobby and listen to us, you are more than welcome. Going to introduce my cast of players, self-promote a little bit because we are very good at self-promotion, possibly the best. Then we're going to get into the wisdoms. So Chris isn't here, but I want it on record that I would have introduced him first because he'll be cross with me. Next up, of course, in the pecking order is my sensei, the wonderful John Scrivens. John, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm not sure we're actually live. That's the weird thing. Because I've just got a YouTube, it's not showing us as live for me.
Well, maybe that's to do with the tinkering, perhaps. Let's see. Let's ask the chat if they can see us.
Yeah, because I'm in as a viewer and I can't see it. So
can you hear us?
I mean, Pickalax has commented in.
Yeah.
He said hello, right? And so there's something going on.
It's up on my phone. We're live on my phone.
Good, then ignore me.
It's that's cool. Okay, John having a brief panic attack. That's fine.
Yeah, just my computer's not showing us live, that's all.
Beautiful, yeah. So Pickalax has worked it out that actually this is a solo show just for him. Members-only content taken to extremes. We will now perform hour-and-a-half live shows for individual members one at a time. Because that's a really efficient way to use our patron money. So, alrighty, John. Other than anxious, how are you, mate?
I'm actually despite how it seems, I'm actually really quite relaxed after a couple of weekends of just taking it quite easy. It's been quite nice.
That's good. No, that's really nice. Yeah. And is there anything new in your 40k life?
Building and painting a lot of red.
Okay.
So my Grey for Greatness is churning into gear. I'm becoming a machine of just pumping out cornate bastards now. So that's my thing, apparently.
You're actually making real headway on it, like very quickly. Like you seem to have actually sort of got locked in on it. Is that fair to say?
So my thing to start with was I wanted to get as much of it built as possible so that I had it all to a certain point, because I had this kind of thing where I had like a couple of units and none of them were sparking joy. I was like, I need to just not be distracted by just painting Angrons. So I was like, right, I'll get everything built. And then I've started just tinkering away. And next thing I've half built, half painted a kill team. So the Goremongers, the new team that only came out the weekend. I've just got them almost done in the last few days. And now some demons, because I was just testing out the scheme, because I'm in that exciting bit where you're like, oh, how can I make this efficient but also look cool?
And this is why we'll talk about this in a bit, but this is why now is the time to strike, right? Because you haven't got the book.
Yeah. Yes,
books turn up and books kind of drag you. Books kind of drag you by the hair in a direction and say, "Oh, you're doing this, this, and this now." Think about the Emperor's Children book, right? Yeah. Think about how much more fun Emperor's Children players would have had with that model range if they had been building and painting it before they knew what their lists were going to look like. Because it's like 3 things in all the lists, and then all this other cool stuff isn't going to get used. So I think this is the time to hobby up, right, and get stuck in. So looking forward to seeing the finished article. I've been hobbying a little bit as well. I've been painting. Is it Lycus? Do you say Lycus? The spider lady one. Yes. She's coming along. I've been copying Darren Latham, who's got the lovely yellow Ulthway helmets on his aspects. I'm trying to use some of that to try and unify the theme and tie the aspects in a bit with the Ulthway. So that's been really fun. Yeah. But I'm at the contrast on everything stage, and I need to do a lot more work to get her looking pretty. But we've got time. We're getting started. I'm also joined tonight. You've heard him chuckling away in the background by the wonderful Ben Pierce of Trash++. Ben, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you, Tom. I'm good. I've just enjoyed my belated weekend. I worked this weekend, so I had yesterday and today off to catch up and get a bit of time back.
Very
So
nice.
I've been grass cutting, doing all the house chores you need to do. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And today I'm trying to build some grotesque, but I think I've made this one man like with the most ridiculously
Mate,
long
he looks
arms.
exactly like there's one of the Talos arms on him. Yeah.
I'm like, it's so long, it feels wrong. I'm not
Hide
sure
him
how I
behind
feel
a
about
ruin,
that.
I dare you.
He could go and tangle.
Yeah.
He could go and tangle with the new 8-bound character, right? They could have a little throwdown together with their big
absolutely.
arms. Battle of the big arms. How many
Battle of the
grotesques will
big
that take you
arm
to?
12. I'll be up to 12 now.
Nice. That's a sensible number.
I like that number.
Very, very sensible. Yeah. Ben's grotesques are particularly beautiful. His whole army is very beautiful as well.
Thank you.
Very, very good. Right, let's have a look at the chat, see who's kicking him out. Obviously, Pickleaxe is here getting his private show, so that's cool. Lovely to see Arad in as well. Very welcome. Do pipe up, let us know what you're up to. Are you doing any hobbying? Are you just having a bit of downtime? I do think there probably are some people in pub gardens. I'm very glad to hear that. So hopefully you catch up on this on your commute to work after having some beers in the sun. So let's talk through some self-promotion, then we'll dive into our main topic. We're still making lots of content. We're very busy, boys. There's all sorts going on out there at the moment. So in the YouTube world, we did a Bug Watch last night. I had my very first appearance on Bug Watch because Davey and I did a tier list specifically for Vanguard Onslaught, which is the pressure melee NIDS detachment, which is the one I was playing a little bit recently and took to Pyra. So we have very fun and very silly time ranking all the different units that you might want to put in that. We've also got various other things going up. John and I did a live stream talking about Saffron Slam and John's time at Warhammer World and taking it a bit more chill the other day as well. And I think later in the week we've got a bat rep coming out, which is going to be the Inari versus the Astra Militarum. Sort of battle of David Gaylard versus Vic, but instead of David Gaylard and Vic, we're going to have Rob Kimpton and Jack Chapman piloting those instead. So that should be really fun. And tomorrow, I think I've got a GSC unit guide coming out because someone in the members asked for it. So I don't know if anyone wanted a 45-minute strategic deep dive on every single unit in the GSC book, but you've got it. So enjoy. And I quite enjoyed making it, so I think I might do it for some of the other factions I play as well. That was a really, really good time. So as ever, please do hit the old like and subscribe. Please do leave us a comment. We really appreciate the support. If you want to sign up and support us financially as a YouTube member as well, that is really, really helpful to us. So thank you very much for doing that. We've got over 100 members now, and we're really enjoying making content specifically for them as well. So thank you to all of you. And of course, we are also providing some coaching. We've got some plans to launch some masterclasses coming up in the near future as well. Have some group classes being taught, but also if you want one-to-one coaching with myself, Ed, Chris, Rob, come and get involved. We'll be very happy to work with you. I just had a very fun Biosanctic Brood Search call with my buddy Joe. Really enjoying working with him at the moment. He's like at a very new stage, like sort of still figuring out sort of maps and terrains and all sorts, like for the first time, and it's been really, really fun to do that. He's not chosen an easy army to start with, but he's a brave man. Okay, wonderful. So, ICD Chief is in. The lovely Josh just says, just built Ben and Scriver's brethren, the mighty Rattlings, aka Merry and Pippin. Very, very good.
Screw you, Josh.
This is why I say I've been working a little bit with Josh. I shouldn't coach Guard because I don't understand it, and what ends up happening when I coach Guard is fire and failing Rattlings out of the Taurox. I don't know. Look, I don't know if that's the competitive pathway, but I was like, you can definitely do this, and it's definitely fun. So let's see how it works. Arad is building a free gladiator lancer that he won from GW. Pickleaxe is painting some fire dragons. Sam Dunn is in painting EC. Absolutely amazing. And basically, yes, this is a great story. Actually, Adam told me this already. Basically, the hover stand was missing. He emailed GW to say the hover stand was missing, and they just sent him a second gladiator tank. I think that's great. So if you're ever missing anything at all from your boxes, flag it up because you might just get a whole other tank.
Yep. And if you have bought it from a third party, they will give you a replacement as well, and then they get a credit. So that's GW's policy. So it's pretty banging.
100%. And Azuma Kazuma is also in saying, just wondering where the Daka and Yanari nerfs are at. Oh, interesting. Also at work, wish I was hobby. Okay, so that is it. Lovely to have so many of you in. You all rock. We're going to start thinking about our main topic then. And today, what we're talking about is things that we wish we'd known when we started 40k. Obviously, Warhammer is a bit of a journey, a bit of a lifestyle for quite a lot of us, and you don't really know at the start quite where it's all going to go and how it's all going to evolve. And I think you learn a lot of lessons along the way. It's quite fun looking back at it now. Scribber was saying when you took your mates to Warhammer World the other day, you've been playing for 8 years, right, with those same people.
Yeah, well, since that we'd restarted. So these are people that one of them, Dan, I remember playing 2nd edition on his bedroom floor.
Oh, even further back. Yeah. Wow.
With Ketchup Blood Angels.
Beautiful. And that's just such a long time back. I think it's really, really interesting to think about all of the things accumulated, all the lessons accumulated along the way, and what's gone on with that. So I think I encouraged our cast of players here to come up with some ideas and some lessons. They're going to be wide ranging. Obviously, I think you can think about 40k and lessons to learn about it in a whole bunch of different ways, and we'll maybe start sifting through that, like in terms of hobby, in terms of competing, in terms of learning, in terms of the communities you play with. It'll be interesting starting to break that open, and we'd love to know what you in the chat think as we go as well. But to open us up, I'm going to let our cast of players contribute a couple of their ideas first. So I'm going to start with you, Ben. What is one lesson that you wish you'd known when you started playing 40k that you now know? What's something you learned along the way?
You don't have to win all of the games to have
it's
fun
mental, isn't it?
in this hobby.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, this is a game.
Mm-hmm.
Shock. And apparently, that comes with a requirement of having fun, win or lose, which is wild. But no, I mean, I think you could break that down further. Like, certainly, there are lots of things to learn from winning, losing, just playing a game. But in like at the very, very core, right? Like it's a game. Look for fun moments.
100%.
I love it when my Venom tank shocks Be'lakor to death. Like that's a great story. I don't care if I lose at that point. I've just had a Venom called Be'lakor. Like how amazing is that?
Absolutely.
So just to try and remember, the game is about fun, not just winning.
Yeah, I think this is really important because this is something I think over time, and especially the more into the hobby you get, it's very easy for it to sort of slide into feeling like a job, slide into feeling like a sport as well, right? All those things where, again, the sort of the competitive side can get really, really intense and you can get a bit sucked into that and get a little bit drawn into it. And I've definitely seen plenty of people, and I've had it happen to myself, where the actual joy of playing the game has gone a little bit because you've got a little bit too preoccupied by some other aspect of it. So remembering that the game is supposed to be fun and that you also don't have to play it when you're not having fun, I think is a really important thing as well. And that as you say, that goes in a bunch of ways. That can be, what are you putting on yourself that's not helping? Take that off. Don't worry about it. Are you in the wrong environment and you're not enjoying playing in this environment? Change that up, right? The game's supposed to be fun. If you're consistently turning up somewhere playing a game and not enjoying yourself, then maybe you're at the wrong place. You need to go somewhere else. I think John and I in our local area have both sort of sought out and found the homes we wanted to play in, right, John?
And if one of your local club mates isn't the person you enjoy playing, you don't have to play them.
There's that people. Too.
Yeah,
so absolutely. If a game for someone isn't a particularly nice experience, you might even get on with them perfectly fine outside of play. But if playing them isn't fun, you don't have to, right? There's no obligation to.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Tom anymore.
And that's why John. That is one of the reasons John doesn't play. We still play when we can. We get games in.
Yeah.
Oh man, good one. All right, John, what's your first top tip for getting started in 40k?
So mine was understanding armies' play styles before you jump into them. So
that's
a good example of this is my second army when I got back in the 8 years ago. I bought an Eldari army. It was all Samhan, all lots of jet bikes, all very flimsy. Turns out I'm not very good at piloting flimsy armies, and it really frustrated me. And after about a year, I sold it. So it was a lot of wasted time and effort, but it was a lesson learned. But I could have avoided it.
Which was, I think, a direct different journey to myself, right? Where I started with Death Guard and was like, actually, I don't care about being tough if I'm also slow. I want to be fast and do things, and I don't mind if I die, and sort of gravitate in the complete opposite direction. And I think it's, I don't regret like starting and painting and playing a bit of Death Guard. It's not like I regret it, but it's like I think as you say, understanding what armies are like before you do all of that legwork is really good, especially I think especially when you're on, like, let's say it's army 2 or 3, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll like this. At that stage, it's like, maybe test it out, try it out, get a sense of how it works before you actually invest hundreds of pounds and hundreds of hours in making it, because you can do all that work and then be like, actually, this doesn't do it for me at all, right?
Especially if your first army's quite a good all-rounder army, it maybe hasn't helped you define what style of army you enjoy playing. So if you started with, say, Space Marines, you've probably got to play every type of army in that sort of weird sort of way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sandun says that's how he feels about Tau. Doesn't vibe with Tau. No. I can't really believe Sandun ever played Tau, because I've only met him in his combat era, and it's like he's just so himself now. He's just having such a good time with his combat.
Tau and him really didn't mesh.
I can believe it.
Face,
yeah, because I've never seen him not rushing people. Yeah,
it was so fun.
Oh man. And lovely to have you here, Ultimate Funk, as well. Yeah, I think we're all doing well, mate. All in good spirits. So I think my first lesson that I picked out, this is once you've been round the edition cycle a few times, everything gets its time in the sun, right? Everything's good at some point, but also everything spends some time in hell as well. So everything is good for a bit, everything is bad for a bit. There's going to be moments where an army that you love doesn't feel particularly good, and there's going to be moments where it feels too good, and there's a lot of in between as well. I think being at peace with this is important, because this has always happened as long as I've known. If you want to be cross when your stuff is bad, or you want to be guilty when your stuff is good, you're just signing yourself up for repeatedly being blindsided emotionally by the rules, and I don't think it's useful, right? I think you just have to accept that there's an ebb and flow in the strength of things. Things get their moment. The funny thing is, some people love it when their army's good. Some people hate it. Like people interact with this in different ways. Yeah. But the change is inevitable, and I think that's a useful lesson, because it means, if there's armies you genuinely love, you should hold on to them, because it's not just because an army's bad for a year or so, it'll be back again at some point. And these days they come back quicker than ever. But also, I think it means it's good to have contingencies as well. Like I always feel for literal monofaction players. I think that's very tough in 40k. You need to be able to get out occasionally, and it might be as simple as, well, actually, if I only really play one army, and I'll just play something else for a bit, right? If that army's no good and I'm not enjoying the game, I'll play something else and wait for them to fix it, and vote with your feet. That's fine as well. But I think be aware that that's coming. Have sensible responses to it. Don't waste too much sleep over complaining about it or feeling bad about it. Ultimate Funk's got a great comment in that line. The internet is so good at telling us to be cross that our toy soldiers don't do as well as other people. I know. It's just bananas. There's so much kind of conjecture and rage and false comparison. I love it. Like, there'll be like Marine players whinging about what CSM get. There'll be CSM players whinging about what Marines get. It's like, you're literally different. Chill out. You're just both wearing power armor. Like, it doesn't matter. And again, it's like, it's a deeply asymmetrical game. Things are supposed to be different. Like, don't get sucked into that world of jostling and worrying about who's got the best space toys at a moment in time.
Because some of the worst things you can do is to go, well, I'll self-censor, and then just go to an event and have a much worse time, because
completely.
Like, you saw me at the end of 9th edition where I'm like, I'm not going to take the good Dark Angel stuff. I'm going to take some of it. And all I did was give myself a really hard and rough game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's ultimately competing, right? And that's where there's different scenes, right? If the strength, the ebb and flow matters a bit more in like local and casual games, but in the competitive circuit, people take what they take and they try and win, right? It's like it's ridiculous. It's just the way of it. So I think learning that, making peace with that, very, very good. Okay, I'm going to bounce it back to you for another thing you'd wish you'd known, Ben. What you got for me?
Oh, don't expect to be an expert painter overnight.
But then I have contrast now. Look,
but I mean, contrast is good. It can still be used wrong, Tom. Okay.
Oh, it probably has been used wrong,
as we can see.
I've seen that GSC model you submitted for that painting competition.
Tom. Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
That's in here now. Okay, I'm judging you for that constantly.
I might get some painting coaching from you.
You trade, right? You can make
yeah.
There we go. Job done.
So what do you think in terms of you're actually you're a great example of this, Ben, because obviously your painting has come on incredibly. What do you think the key to actually getting there with it is then? Because you say you can't rush it, right?
You can't rush it, and I think part of it has to be enjoy what you're painting, right? I think if you're not enjoying it, you've lost the battle already, because you're not going to want to take the time. You're not going to want to sit up till 4 a.m. putting rivets on silly little Sakaran battle tanks. It's just little things like that. So I think if you enjoy what you're painting, you're going to get better at it, because you're going to want to paint more. So I think it all boils down to repetition again. The more you do with the brush, the better that you're going to get with that brush. And you can try different techniques and see what works for you. Like slap chop is fine. A dry brushing over everything is fine. You could sit there and edge highlight everything if you want to. Whatever you do to paint is fine. Just make sure you enjoy it and be happy with the result. You will get better with every model that you paint. It just takes time and practice.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's really valuable. I'm not a natural painter by any stretch, but I've over time you find the styles you like, the techniques that you like, and you gradually kind of add little things to your bow and get a little bit better as you go. So I think it's nice and just being patient with it. And then you look back at what you were doing even a few years ago, and you're like, wow, this is still a massive improvement in lots of ways. So you take the wins as you go. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good one. John, how about you?
So mine's kind of a very niche one, the next one, but I think it's funny to touch on, is that don't buy something like Tactical Marines and then have 3 months later Games Workshop introduce a whole new narrative where suddenly there's these new super big tall Space Marines called Primaris, and they basically just replace them but don't replace them. So that was a sting where I went, right, I've bought 3 units with rhinos. This is going to be great. And
so if we take this, if we try and find like a constructive learning point from this, do you think it's fair to say it's like try and be clued in on the release cycle and what's going on and what that means? I think that's a really big one.
Yeah. So knowing, for example, if you're into Space Wolves at the moment, to be careful around some of the old resin models,
because you knew the update was coming.
Yeah. Some of the stuff like Dreadnoughts, watching the patterns, like the box Dreadnought that the Blood Angels had disappeared. All 3 forms of it really did go. So maybe the same happens for Space Wolves. So then that's that whole kind of like knowing that, right? That's
completely,
because it's money at the end of the day.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. And I think your relationship to this changes actually as you spend time. Like when I first came back into the hobby, it was a lot of the old models I was nostalgic for. I loved them. And that was what I wanted to use. I had three Crimson Fist Ironclads. I was like, I love these.
How many times did you buy them back, Tom?
Oh, twice. That's fine. That's okay. They changed hands like some kind of illicit material.
They swap more than they got played, I think.
But it's like over time, gradually, you get eyes for the new and exciting things that are coming out, and the new releases and everything else, right? And I think it's important to understand where ranges sit. You talk about something like Eldar, right? Eldar now have arrived at this really exciting point because they've got all the aspects. They've got the Phoenix Lords. It's a really fun time to get stuck into painting them. When I started playing Eldar a long time back, they had resin aspects that absolutely sucked. They had tons of really old kits. And a lot unresolved about where it was going in the future, right? So actually, it wasn't a particularly fun time to collect those models. Whereas now, I think that you can jump in on that range and feel really good about it.
Drukhari are kind of in that opposite place where it's the uncertainty, right? Like, if you were a new player jumping in now, where do you start? My friend Dan, who's just got back, like restarted his Drukhari and dug them out, he was like, half the units I can't buy. What do I do?
Yeah.
And so don't fall into the temptation of going online and finding people selling it secondhand, because the chances are they're getting rid of it because something's going to change that unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where that release cycle thing comes in. Because it's funny, it intersects both your points, right? Both about painting and about the release cycle, which is that I really want to redo my Drukhari, right? I look at them, I painted them when I first started. They're a bit shit. I'd like to do it properly again and start from a different point. But I also know that they're probably due a bit of an update. They need a bit of love. They need some news. They need some new stuff, right? So it's like I'm just holding off, like as and when some new bits and pieces appear to them, that'll be the time to do it, right? As Osmond Funk says in the chat, demons, will they even exist? Yeah, exactly. There is these very real uncertainties around certain armies. They can disappear. I think it's always useful to speak to people who are clued in when you want to start something, and just ask them what the state of that army in the game is in terms of its sort of long standing and its updated, etc. I think that's actually very useful. John was always very good at updating me on this as my friendly local gaming store owner when I was first collecting. But you need to know, you need to know where things are at. And it's the same with Marines. If you play Marines, you will be subjected to that cycle forever because they get new stuff more than anybody else, which means there's always new stuff flying in.
But also, it's always got some use.
You get new toys, right? There's always something new,
and it cycles around. Like I've had 3 times in 7 years that my aggressors have come out in quite a competitive way.
Yeah,
it all comes back round.
Yeah, and it means that for Marines players, they stay entertained, right? There's always something new to try, right? Because they're provided
We're
for.
Simpletons. Very simple armor.
They're provided for very consistently. Another one, and this is one I think about a lot, and I think player consensus can be very stifling. So don't take player consensus too seriously. But what I mean, and that can be a bunch of things, like player consensus about what the right units to take are, what the best armies are, what you should be doing in terms of how you approach the game. We're a bit of a herd in 40k. People like to feel like they're doing the right things, and they can be a bit sort of single-minded and a bit narrow-minded about things. And you playing the game should enjoy the units you want to enjoy, play it the way you want to play. And as long as you're having fun doing that, don't worry too much about what other people say. You certainly don't want to be put off things by others. But also the important, and this is something I say with people when we're discussing lists and stuff all the time, is that every obvious thing was at some point not the obvious thing.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about Vanguard Ultramarines now. That was just a thing John Lennon did that no one had done. Yeah. Jumping a Centurion Devastator brick around. And someone would have told, I think it was Tony Chu in a practice when we were practicing for England. He used a version very similar of that. He did a list very similar to that. And then people in the team were like, no, just take Ironstorm, just take some Redemptors, don't do the thing. And it's like, consensus will stop you from trying interesting things or doing new things if you're not careful. And it can also make you feel like things are worse than they are as well. I think that's a particularly dangerous one. Gordon Chung says, unlike Marine players, kin are into delayed gratification. Yeah, oh man, give me that new Votan. Give me that new Votan.
Edging.
That will be fun. That will be really fun. I am very excited for that. And they're a great example, right? Votan. I actually think Votan are a great army to start collecting because it's like the range is small, and you know, because you've seen it many times, there will be a bunch of new stuff like Admech got in the future, and that's quite cool. Ultimate Funk says 100% yes, work it out yourself. The satisfaction of making your thing work is much greater than piloting carbon copies to top list. I completely agree with this. Because what you learn by figuring stuff out yourself and making your stuff work is genuinely how to play. Right? You're not working backwards, you're working forwards. You're trying to puzzle out rules, armies, interactions, and learn how to play them. And this is something I did a lot. And I would say it's the long way round, but I think it's a very good way round to go.
And then when it does work, you've got something to celebrate.
Exactly.
And when it goes wrong, at least you then know why, and you've got the evidence yourself why it doesn't work, rather than someone telling you it.
100%.
Which I think sometimes is actually nicer.
Yeah.
And
then,
like Void Weavers,
sorry,
right?
you go, Ben.
Sorry, yeah, like Void Weavers, right?
Yeah.
Me and Chris are picking on Ben about his Void Weavers. But the reality is, that's exactly what I said to you. It's like, if it works for you, if it's working for you, that's the important thing. 100%. So I'm completely with you on that. It's like if you are finding consistent use for them, you're seeing the value. That's more important than what I think. And actually, this is something with coaching that we stress all the time. It's like, ultimately, I'm going to tell you what I think, but actually, it's just as important that you know what you think and at times disagree with me. We talked about, I don't know, I'm sure Chris talked about it on the show last week, where that we were having the coaching game at the Invitational. And the lad wanted to go for a really high risk play, and me and Chris are both like, I mean, okay, we don't think it's going to work. We give it a go, and then it just all worked, and it was so good. It was just
what a hero.
Just like a complete U-turn on the game, like completely catastrophic for Chris, and it was really fun. And it's like we wouldn't have taken that chance, and so that's really really fun to see, and I think it's important to not get too set in your ways.
Oh, it's more than a 7-inch charge. I can't do it. I can't risk it.
Exactly that. Well, honestly, like when a player goes to start hitting 9s, and I'm just like, nah, and then they hit it. I'm like, I mean, to be fair, it is very possible.
Bloody Paul James.
Oh God, he'll go for further than that. He absolutely loves to go for further than that. All right, Ben, did you have any others as far as your wisdoms are concerned?
I think. Sorry, my glasses have all fogged up and gone a bit horrible. Sorry. I think my other one was collect what you enjoy.
Yes.
Don't work out what models you enjoy first. Collect them. It doesn't even have to be from the same army, right? Like if you get yourself a like-minded playing group, you can play what you want, right? There was this
Mhm.
young lad down at our club. He must have been about 17, 18, and he just had a mix of Space Wolves, Tau, and Necrons that he'd turn up. And it was like
That's
the
amazing.
guy just really enjoyed collecting them and showing them off to us. So, it doesn't have to be about gaming, having functional armies. Sometimes just enjoy the hobby aspect, right? You can still come down
Completely.
to clubs and show off and just talk to like-minded people. Be like, look at how cool my Tau reanimator fluffy furry boy is, or or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
weird kit bash conversion you've built. But that also goes for building armies. Find models you enjoy first. I
yeah.
think the quickest way to burn out is, oh, wonderful, I need to build 12 Centurions for this list to be good, but I absolutely hate them. Well, don't
Mhm.
do it. Just don't do
Yeah,
it. It's your money. Collect what you want to enjoy.
yeah,
You can work out what's good later with what you've got and what you enjoy.
yeah.
There'll be something cohesive you can build, particularly nowadays. I think the way the
I
rules
agree.
are now. I think most things are reasonable if you put them on a tabletop in the right sequence.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think it's the ability to actually pivot into things as they appear is something that you
Yeah,
get to quite naturally eventually by collecting armies you actually like and having the full range over time. Then when rules are good or whatever, you can pivot. It is way harder and much more exhausting and debilitating to just chase the exact moment in time in the game. And honestly, if competing is what you're about, my honest advice is if an army's good at a particular moment in time, just borrow it and use it. Don't try and hobby up in the
yeah.
space of weeks because it's miserable. It's just not enjoyable. Ed's just in the chat, like we've summoned him as if we're talking about this. Ed is uniquely capable of just churning out an entire army in a short space of time. But for me, when I was doing that a little bit in ninth, it just killed the enjoyment of the game entirely for me. Like I was just turning events into a massive chore beforehand. So I very much copy you now, Ben. I don't think any of the things I painted in the last few months have been part of any plan for anything to get on any table at any point. It's just been like there's been random Benefictus and Autarchs and Orcs and all sorts. It's been nice, and it's much more fun to just paint for its
It
own
is
sake in that sense.
absolutely.
Because
I
again, it's
actually
part of the
think that
hobby
me and
that's
Ed
fun,
should
right?
have a. Ooh,
Oh, sorry, man.
Go on.
I think me and Ed should have a race so you can get an army done quicker. I think that
Okay,
should be a challenge.
done. Ben versus Ed painting challenge. Let's see it. We will get that out to the people very very soon.
Oh gosh.
Ed says he rarely does it to meta chase. He just likes it.
Yeah, that
I'm
unmedicated
not
ADHD is
motivator.
great.
so an extra hobby wisdom for you is don't try and understand Ed. Just allow Ed to be Ed. That's something I arrived at a long time ago. It's made me a lot happier. Don't try and puzzle it out. Don't try and figure it out. Just let him be beautiful and wonderful and weird, and everything will be better. John, what's your next wisdom for us, mate?
Ooh, actually, I only had 2 listed down, so I'm going to steal one from Rob.
Nice.
Rob put some suggestions. He put
Thanks, Rob.
tournaments are very friendly, and I think this
Oh,
is a
he's
really good
damn
point.
right. Yeah.
There's this weird sort of thing that when people are just starting out, they're like, "Well, I'm very cool, laid back kind of guy. I just go to my club and play pickup games. Don't take it too seriously." And then they have this whole perspective of, because they see on the internet people going, "Oh, this guy went 4-0 with this list and did this," and it's this weird expectation that a tournament player is this kind of machine that's just this sweaty person that only wants to win and isn't there for fun, is just there to win. And I think that's such a weird misconception to have. Like, if anything, I find that some of the sweatiest games I've ever had have been the more chilled, fluffy guys at a club. So I think tournaments are probably quite a nice place to go and learn.
Yeah,
really.
I think so. I think I definitely encountered the game in a different way once I started going to those. Right, going to Hellstorm with you, I was like, oh, it's this whole world of people. It's all these larger than life characters. It's really fun. People being really nice, but also I was seeing the game played to a standard I've just never encountered before as well. And there's a lot to them in that sense. I do think both are great. Like the local club games are really nice. Having
Such
people
great
you
energy.
see regularly, the energy is really fun. Getting creative with it, but it's just events themselves. I don't think they do have a bad rep anymore. I think they used to. They're just fun environments now. All of these lovely connections and friendships that come out of them. But I think if you're worried about or shy about events, it's worth saying, they are really friendly places.
Yeah.
And the important thing is to go there looking to make friends, and you absolutely will. You absolutely will, because that's what other people.
And on the flip, don't feel pressure to go to them if it's not really
Oh,
your
not at all.
jam. Don't. Like, the amount of times people go, "Oh, I don't really want to go to an event," but they do because that's what their community does. Probably not.
Yeah, that's a weird one to be
Right.
at, I think.
I find that
yeah,
odd.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Donald Carey in the chat says, is building, painting, and then selling an army a bad thing? No, not at all. People do that, right? People absolutely do that. People do that and make good money doing that. And you absolutely can. I think it's building and painting entire armies trying to chase a very brief moment in time in a rules sense.
Yes.
Can be quite tough, right? I think that can be quite knackering, especially for new players getting started. I don't think that's healthy. Because they get stuck on that wheel. And what you'll end up with if you're entering into the game doing that, you'll end up with 5 different 2,000 points armies that then make no sense as soon as the rules have changed and move on. And then you're stuck chasing around on 5 different armies, right?
But my 30 looters, Tom.
Yeah. Not my looters. J Meld says our local Ammonite events are always great fun. I would love to know more about what that means. Is that local community events, or is it events with Ammonites? It might be a spelling error. I'm not sure. But well done on your 8 months of membership. You absolute hero. I had another one, and this is more of a competitive angled one because obviously I've been thinking about what the lessons were in terms of competing as well as having fun with it. We talk about having fun, and having fun is great as well. But I know a lot of players are also competitively minded, and I think one of the important things is, if you want to get better and be better, own the fact that you do. Be real with yourself. If that's what you want to be doing, start with that and embrace that. If you don't care about it, embrace that as well. Both are completely valid. Don't get caught in a weird state where you're sort of you don't know which one you are really, or you're trying to be one thing and you're actually something. So for me, it's like I have a.
Like that, Tom.
I'm not looking at you, John.
I feel seen right now.
I definitely had it where it's like I got more competitive as it went on, right? I got more competitive over time.
But it was a natural escalation for you.
So there's an escalation. I came to it quite naturally. I was very much having fun with the game to start off with, but then over time, what I found was, no, I am competitive now, right? That I can't undo that. That's not going away. I can still have fun with the game, but I have that kind of competitive animal in there now. So you have to own it and indulge it, and not feel bad about it. But likewise, there are also moments in the game where I'm like, you know what, I'm absolutely fed up with trying to be competitive right now. I can't be arsed. It's stressing me out. I'm not enjoying it. I haven't got anything that's good right now anyway. I just want to have a knockabout and do something else. And it's identifying when that is and just cutting yourself slack either way. I think that's definitely a very important one. So there you go. So Jamie is giving us some details about their community. So it's a North Yorkshire organizer, Ammonite Gaming, good food and beer available. So round 3, I have several Guinness deep and cooling models. Yeah. You should meet our very own Sam Royal. You'd get on really well. Sam and I had a Saffron Teams this weekend, just gone very well. We didn't actually shout it out because me and John talked about it on Monday, but well done to Jamie East, Paul James, Lee Jones, Dave Murdoch, and myself, lol, for taking second place at Saffron Teams. That was really fun. You guys all did great. It was really fun to play with you. But I played against Sam Royal round 1, and we had rum and cokes at like 10 o'clock. It was the best. It was so good. It was really, really, really nice. Sam Dunn says, I think my biggest competitive one is if you want to learn to win, learn to lose well, i.e. take from your losses, improve, work with your opponent, have a good time. Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think that's where wanting to get better is not the same as wanting to win. If that makes sense. Like,
yes.
Just wanting to win doesn't actually have to respect process, talent, ability, hard work. It can just be a feeling you have that wants it irrespective of all of those things, right? But wanting to get better, wanting to do that work and think about it and understand the game, that ultimately in the end produces those kinds of outcomes. And when you see people who just want to win and don't care whether it's earned or not, that's why we get all the bad actors in our game and our hobby, unfortunately. So win's got to be earned. And if you want to really get better, you've got to want to earn it and do what needs to be done to earn it, right? Lots of love for that point in the chat as well. And Dave Gresham has, and Dave has wonderful points. Dave's one of the big members of our community and has lots of great points in our YouTube members area in the Discord. But what I learned when I started, and I see in newbies that play locally, is don't judge your ability and the level of your army on small size games. It's balanced for 2K, and sub 1K have huge things. Yeah, I love 1K. Don't we love 1K, John?
I love 1K orcs into everyone
Yeah,
else
you
because
do.
I just
It's
get
just
more
like
shit.
it's
Go,
just like it's
hey
just
guys, I'm a problem.
you're just like 3 trucks full of boys at 1K. You're just like, I cannot do anything about this. I can't deal with it. It's just too
Can't you
much.
remember my podium, Tom, at the 1K event where I took 2 kill rigs full of Beastnagger
I
boys
do.
into 9th because just
I
no one could deal
do.
with it at that
The
scale.
double kill rig at 1K. Yeah.
That's horrible.
I think in general, yeah, don't, and it's like different terrains. Don't take too much away from your games at that level. Just enjoy them and sort of practice the little things and have fun with it. Yeah, until you are playing like super serious terrain, super serious points, you're not going to get those kind of learnings anyway. But it's good fun. 1K is meant to be mental. I always found 1K suddenly someone's dead, like really dead. There's not really like as tit for tat for 5 turns. Someone ends up very, very out of resources very, very quickly.
And then you re-rack.
And then you go again. Ben, did you have any other wisdomuses for us?
I didn't. I did put it out to my team earlier though, and one of the big
trash.
Ones, I put
Which
it out
team?
to them. They're all my team now, John. They're all my team. Okay? Everybody.
Go on.
My
What
team.
did they have to say?
So I think that the biggest one is that the best part of 40k is making good friends and memories.
That is
I
damn
just thought
right.
that was super wholesome, right?
It's the whole point, right?
It's the whole point. You
purpose
cannot
of
play
it.
40k on your own. I mean, well,
Yeah.
Jeff, I suppose you can, but it's kind of boring, right?
Chris does it all the time.
Yeah, he plays with himself a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, Chris.
No, the captain. What is he like? But yeah, I think I don't think any of us would have stayed in this if that wasn't true, right? I think if it wasn't what it is, which is this bonkers social phenomenon, in terms of you meet tons of people who love similar things to you, have similar humor to you, you share these adventures and passions and stories. If it wasn't that, we wouldn't do it, would we? That's not. It's just
absolutely not.
Because I hate competitive video gaming, right? Like I've only played that a couple of times in my life. I can't stand it because there's none of the extras that come with it. There's just at the end of it, it's just the raw sort of competing process, but online without any of the other things that for me, the going places and meeting people and everything else. And it's just, but again, you can lose sight of it. You can definitely lose sight of it and forget about it. No, I think that's a really good one. Did Rob have any other points you want to steal, Scrib?
This is one that I think is very true to Rob, so I'm going to touch on it. Is realistic painting expectations. So Rob is a very competent painter, but he's very slow. So set yourself with like horrible challenges. Like this touches on you said about kind of painting towards events and stuff, Tom. It can become quite a dangerous kind of expectation.
Yes,
but on the flip side, it can be a great motivator. So I used to love, if I was going to club, I'd be like, right, I want to bring one new unit. And it was a motivator.
This is what I used to love. Yeah, exactly. I love the kind of, I'd actually really like to use that unit next time. I'll add one in. Yeah. No, I think that's really good. I'm very much at the just one addition at a time in terms of the painting rather than trying to do whole armies. I know some people love doing whole armies and you can do very effective building up the scheme or whatever else. It's just not for me.
It can be very anxiety driven, and this is meant to be a fun hobby. So sometimes just taking a step back is not the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's finding schemes that work for you and that are replicable as well is really good, and identifying what works. Airbrush obviously can be really effective. Contrast for me has been a bit of a game changer because mixing contrast with other things, I'm like, this looks nicer than anything I've previously done, so I'm very happy with it. But it's just finding your way and being realistic about rate of progress as well, I think is really, really important. We've got another nasty competing one for you, which is you cannot go around the best armies and players if you want to compete. You have to go through them. Basically, this is something I've talked about. I think there were a couple of our guys at the event the other day where they're like, "Oh, maybe we'll dodge X team and we'll not have to play them." I'm like, that's not how anything works. That's not how you win events. You got to go through people. It's just how it is. And I think it's the same. You have a choice when you're competing. It's like when there's something very powerful in the game, you're not going to avoid it. You'll have to play it if you want to go deep in events. So you have to understand it and play against it. And it's hard work. You can also decide to not worry about that at all. You can be like, fine, I can't do that. There'll be a ceiling on how far I get. Let's say with Dakar, South Coast, I was like, well, I play Dakar, I'll probably lose. And I got past it once and then I lost the next time. And I was at peace with that. But it's like, if Ben Jones, by contrast, he plays elves. He's a competitor. He knows if he wants to win South Coast, he's got to take Dakar because it's really strong.
Yeah.
And he takes it and he wins the event. And it's that kind of process of there's not a sort of we love to think about the fairy tale where we can just sort of swerve around these things, but ultimately that's not usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, mostly there's a lot of different good armies in the game these days. It's not as boring as it used to be, where like there will be Harlequins or there will be Tyranids or whatever it was at different times. But certainly, if you want to get better, you have to go through the people who are better than you, not around them, and that means playing them, and take.
And don't over tailor to them, because that was
one
of my favorite events I've ever done, where I went to a Hellstorm and went, the Marine Menace is a real problem. I built my orcs to deal with Marines. Did I play them in any of those 5 games? No. So did it matter?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, 100%.
I just couldn't deal with other stuff as a result. So
absolutely. We've got another wisdom from Rob saying painting you see on Instagram isn't being played on tabletops. Took him a while to realize that. Yeah, Instagram, 40k Instagram is a lot like Instagram in general, right? It's not the real world. You see some very cool, lovely, wonderful things out there, but you also see everyone's best moments. There are hard moments, there are difficult moments as well. And there's a lot of models that are half done and not finished. I can see some of them from here. Oh yes, underneath this tank, it's just grey. Donald Carey had a question. As someone who spent all of 8th, 9th as local punching bag, at what point do you quit trying to chase single win? Life has meant got no games of 10th. That's an interesting one. I think this is something that we might have touched on. I'm not sure if we have, but it's like finding people in a similar level or place to you in the game. So it sounds like you're someone who hasn't had time to play much, Donald. So probably you'll have quite a lot of fun playing against other people who are also, not able to have a ton of time playing and a little bit sort of less sort of taking it too seriously, because it's quite hard when you're starting to play against that. I do think chasing the win is just a bit of a frustrating experience in itself. If you hang your hopes on the win, it's like we were saying, it's like that's the outcome. But the process is just turning up and playing games and gradually learning how to play it again. It sounds like if you've not played in 10th, there's a bit of a sort of getting yourself back in the game to be done. And just being kind to yourself whilst you do that, and patient with yourself. And progress will sort of go with you as you go there. And J-Mel says, I moved up north a few years back and my entire friend circle of gamers up here. Yeah, it's just, I was thinking about this. Obviously, I've been back home with the parents for a few months. I've been looking at locations and jobs and stuff, and you're like, if you think about where my friends are, I've got some friends here, and then there's this huge, massive orbit around where I was living, which is there's just tons of people, all from 40k and gaming, and it's so many people, such a huge social circle in a couple of areas of the UK. It's such a social hobby. It's really, really cool. I think we've had most of Rob's thing, but I think that was one which we've just touched on, which I think is good, a good wisdom from Rob, which is find people who approach the game with a similar mindset. I think this is massive. When you have games with people that you really enjoy, you can, get their contacts and play them again. That's really important. And this is, if you actually meet and connect with people where you get on and you really enjoy the games, those are the people you should be, trying to spend more time playing against. And it's really nice to draw those people together. And obviously these days it's teams. Teams is a big part of that as well, right? If you find a bunch of people that you really like and they're in a team, try getting that team. Or if you've got a bunch of mates, you're having a great time, form a team. That's really fun as well.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Still mates from school, most of us. And
yeah, exactly. That's cute. It's nice. It's lovely.
When half the team finishes sixth form, you'll be able to actually go to a team's event, right?
Oh
wait, no, he's already
one
left.
half of those are already gone.
Oh man, bless you God. But yeah, I do think the like-minded thing matters massively, because there are very different expressions of how to play the game. There's very different communities within the hobby, and it's nice to find those people that enjoy it in a similar way to you. So I think that's a really, really good one. I think that was most of the tips and tricks and advice that had come to mind. I think there's all sorts of different ways you could cut it and slice it. I think it is a journey. Your engagement with the game will change a lot. It's nice to just let that happen and enjoy it and sort of experience it for yourself. I think the other thing with it, and this is the final bit, I suppose, is the game itself, the releases, the additions, the rise and fall of armies. It is quite cyclical. Once you've done a couple of editions, you see there's patterns in it, and you can be a bit relaxed about it. The first couple of years you go through this hobby, it all seems incredibly wild and dramatic and disastrous. Once you've done it a couple of times, it's much easier to be chill. Like when more DACA happens, like we've seen a lot of this stuff. It happens. It's
like,
fine.
yes,
I just
chaos.
It's just like it's fine. We've had much worse. We will have much worse, I'm sure. It all comes around, so it's just being chill and enjoying yourself. All right, what we're going to do is we'll turn to the Discord and we'll see if there's any podcast questions lurking for us. If you in the chat would like to chuck us some podcast questions, we would love to have them. Thanks for being with us so far. Please do hit the old like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. If you want to sign up and support the team financially as a YouTube member, we would love to have you as well. Thanks for helping us all continue to have an incredible year with 6 Plus. You are all wonderful. Right, let's go to the Discord, see what's popping. So, we indeed, well, before that, we actually have a question from yesterday that's specifically about orcs. So, one for John. Bomb squigs. Is it only tank busters that can release one per turn, as it seems to be in the MFM, or was it meant to be all bomb squigs? Because as of now, other units seem to have no limit, which can get rather crazy in a go turn, kills off screens rather well. That's from MC. What do you think, John?
I think if they were actually trying to fix it, they would have done it to all of them. But I think it's just an oversight that will get corrected in the next balanced data slate.
Yeah.
Just feels like they were trying to deal with the tank busters were the big problem, but breakaways equally can be a challenge with it. So I think if people spot these things, they should just drop an email to the FAQ email address. Yeah, and just
it's a classic. It's a classic example of like it probably will be. Breakers and Squig boys, those are the other two main units that can take it, right?
And commandos have got one.
Oh, and commandos have one. It's like none of those are popping up in huge numbers in the lists we've been seeing for orcs, so it's fine. I wouldn't panic about it. It wasn't what they were addressing the FAQ at, but probably the same fix will be intended in the future. But at the moment, it is allowed. It's absolutely fine. It's kind of, I think that's one way you chat with your opponent to see how they feel about it and go from there. But I wouldn't.
Here's all my squigs.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to play a game against orcs again where the bomb squigs mattered. I'd like to go back to that rather than just the enormous hail, the hail of bullets that was the main problem right now.
Is there enough DACA? I think there was too much.
There's a substantial amount of DACA. Adam in the chat says, "I feel I've made some lifelong friends through Warhammer meta events and casually." That's what it does. That's the power of it. That's the real reason we're doing any of it. The real Warhammer was the friends we made along the way. Eden Mish says, "Do you guys have any tips or insights on starting a local club?" Now, John, I believe you might be qualified for this one.
So my recommendation is start small. Just find some like-minded people, or even something simple as if you've got a local games club, game shop, see if they want to collaborate and do something so that there's some support through that. Even just like go and see if it's something like your library, if they've got open table space that can be used. Locally, my local library now has a Saturday club for kids to play Warhammer using the tables. So there is always ways to make it a free experience. So just start small. Don't worry about things like buying terrain and like financially burdening yourself with it. Just start small. Just have everyone bring their own stuff along and just keep it basic. Even if it's just like rent the local village hall for a Saturday once a month, just start small. And then just make it manageable and let it grow organically. That's all you need. And there's people. They'll come. You build it and they'll come.
I think that's it. And it's nice to have a core of people who know each other well. I think that works, doesn't it? And that then new people can kind of come in and build around it. Space is important. Having a good space is important. Yeah. Routine is important. So meeting in a consistent fashion. And then I think comms is nice. Like in a world of WhatsApp and stuff, it's very easy to keep in comms and keep that running. And then people will kind of find you there.
They dip in and dip out when they need to as
well. Yeah, exactly. That's the way with it, right? So if you've got a little keen group, that's where you start, and it can all kind of escalate from there. Yeah. I'm sure if you had further questions, John would be very happy to help you, Eden, so to drop him a message if needs be. All right, taking it down to the chat. Andy had some lists of his own of things he wish he had known. So, hobby, you don't need 1 million paints. Well, shit, because I have a lot of them here. Tiny brushes are a waste of time and money. Define tiny. How big is a tiny brush?
I just bought a 000 brush this weekend.
God.
Is he just personally attacking you, John?
I used it earlier and it was great for just doing basic layers because I'm an idiot.
Man. Use a wet palette. You can make your own for pennies. Use brush soap. Tamiya extra thin is 100 times better than GW plastic cement. Well, that's interesting.
It is and it isn't.
Vallejo and
I
Army
hate
Painter acrylics are better than GW equivalents and cheaper. So that is actually from the hobby side. What I would say, I've never minded spending too much on GW products because that's kind of what I'm in this hobby to do, is spend too much on GW. But it is an expensive hobby. We didn't. That's one thing we didn't actually touch on as much. But I think more than ever. I think when I started getting into this hobby, I would probably have been a bit judgmental about some of the corner cutting that you see in different ways about different things. We're just not living in the same world now, right? Like people have been squeezed enormously over the years I've been playing in this hobby. If there are ways you can make your life more comfortable and your hobby more affordable, fucking take them. Don't worry about it. Honestly, I just don't. I don't think anyone should ever feel bad about that now. I think it's very expensive to keep up with it all. So finding those little ways to keep your costs down, very smart. And I think that was almost all of his points. Oh, from gaming, have a couple of factions to play with in case your Waldors get crowd wars. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I think that's it. You always need a little bit of space to go and try. As much as I think it's fun to try something different, right? Hannibal asks, if the 6+++ GT was coming up in the next few weeks, would you ban more DACA?
No.
John? No.
I
Ben?
don't think so.
No.
I don't think I would either. There's always a bigger fish, right? So it's like you're just letting something else.
All right, Qui-Gon.
Yeah, but you are just letting something else froze. We're in a really confusing place with data now because some places have banned it, some players aren't taking it. We no longer know where it sits. But then again, so Ben Jones won South Coast with it, lost to Vic Onyanari with it next event. So Vic's had some time to go away and think about DACA. He's beaten it. Now we don't know the ins and outs of how that happened, but it happened.
And that's not to say we don't think it needs fixing. The difference
no.
It's not our job, I think. Is the
for sure.
There. And I don't want to shame people. If they want to just ban it from the events, fine, go for it. But where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
That's the challenge. Right?
And the lads playing DACA at our event were lovely and everyone had a great time. Like, it was fun. It was good. It was absolutely fun. John C. asked, how was the last Invitational? It looked like an absolute bloodbath. It was funny, wasn't it, John?
So it was quite a weird sort of environment of people just wanting to have a laugh, but also having very, very good games, which surprised me.
There were some very good players there, right?
Yeah, it was terrifying. I was glad I was just watching and judging. Just standing there going, oh, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was, we really enjoyed the model. It's that same thing. It's the like-minded individuals thing, right? We liked everybody in there. We knew everybody in there. Yeah. Everyone was on great form. Everyone was being really good. I think a good example of it, to be honest, was like, we ran out of time. It was tough. It was tough on the rounds, and we ran out of time. And the two lads who were essentially competing for first had to call it a draw, and then dropped off the first. And they were both completely fine about it. There was literally no protestation, no issues, no one minded whatsoever. And then we all went for food and drinks, and everyone had a great time. And it was like the priority was everyone catching up and having a good time, and the games were just a nice thing we were doing for the day as well. And it was awesome. Definitely do it again. So we've got one coming up in May, don't we, John? I think.
Yeah. So tickets will eventually go open to public, but we're just kind of getting the team in, getting a few invites out first, and then any spare spots we'll offer them up to you lovely viewers.
Yeah. Ash Loftus says, let's just delete all Eldar in Tau and everyone can be happy. That's an opinion. You're entitled to it, Ash. You're allowed to have it.
Player.
Oh, man. Absolutely.
Or is he a Space Marine player today? I can never tell. Which hat are you wearing, Ash?
And John C. did have an on-topic question as well. Oh, man, I wish someone had made me paint a normal Marine before deciding to jump in on the Army of Trim T-Suns. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is it... That's an interesting one. I don't really think... I don't think I'd ever tell someone what army they should start with, but like starting with one that's doable for hobby?
Yeah.
Is that just smart? Is that just going to help someone get through it better than like taking on something really, really fiddly?
Depends on the starting level of the player's competency. Like if someone's really quite artistically minded, maybe they need that challenge to start with. It depends what they're coming into the hobby for.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's an interesting one. But certainly I think that much like the playing an army to find out what it's like, I think painting a few models to find out how you feel about that. Yeah. I think that's very sensible.
And building them, because I can't build elves without
building is So this thing, there's a moment when you build Lycus where you've got Lycus and you've got the base, and the instructions pretty much just highlight the stone in yellow and go, fucking get it on there, son. And it doesn't really tell you how to fit them together or assist in any way, and it was horrible. Very, very stressful.
Just work it out, be fine.
Yeah, just work it out. You'll
Just
be all right.
stick a little bit of extra
Just
glue and you'll be all right,
deeply
right?
stressful. Well, that was exactly what I did, John. I absolutely slathered it in glue and then it molded together. Ultimate Funk has some opinions on Hazmat. Andrew Stone says, I say we ban everything but Imperial Fists, so 40k will be perfectly balanced. Do you remember when Imperial Fists were good? That was a long time ago.
I hated it.
I remember Centurion Devastators that did like 26 mortal wounds. I remember that. That was fun.
No, thank you.
Sam says, why is building the worst bit? Some days, all I want to do is build. Some days, all I want to do is paint. I don't know which mood I'm going to be in. I really enjoy building sometimes.
It's Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. I contain multitudes, John. I'm a complex guy.
Sure.
Oh, dear. Ed says Imperial Fists are great in brackets Siege Anvil. Yeah.
No, that's
He's not wrong.
That's not specifically theirs. Remember, we're vague.
That is true. Certainly not with Gilliman in there, which is how Ed plays it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
What do you mean,
outrageous.
Calgar isn't Imperial Fist chapter master? What are you on about?
Oh dear. We, for the first time in a long time, have hit the hour mark, and the show is over. I'm very pleased with us. This is the time to call it a day. You will rock. We will be back again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. This is it from us. We will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.